election in our bylaws and our charter. We have it set up that odd number of years we have the election for the vice president and the treasurer. On even years it's for the president and secretary. So today we are looking to put out the word for candidates to replace Larry as vice president. And I'd like to know if anyone here would like to be considered as a candidate for this election for vice president. Larry feels that he needs for the job. I would hate to see him go, but he has also agreed to continue. And we really appreciate that. Just look what happened right here. We were able to get that resolved. And then our treasurer, Liz Perry. Is there anyone here who would like to be considered candidate for the treasurer of the club? We put out the word for that. Well, we so appreciate Liz because she also fills in sometimes as secretary and other duties. And so we're going to still conduct the election for these positions so that we have it on record. So I would like to nominate Larry Schreiber to be the vice president for the technology club. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Nobody. Now we go to treasurer. I nominate Liz Perry to be treasurer for the tech club. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of Liz Perry continuing to be the treasurer, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
And thank you.
And thank you always for your service. Now, at this point, we no longer have a secretary, and we do appreciate Maureen Rodriguez. She was in that position for a couple of years now. That was very helpful. And she is no longer able to continue. So we need someone to help. Secretary is basically the duties are to take minutes at our board meetings, which are like we're going to have them a week before the regular member meeting, and help with room reservations and some simple things. So it's only pretty much a monthly duty, so it's not ongoing that you have to do something all the time. So I'd like you to consider stepping up to that position. There's a possibility that we will need a new president. I'm applying for some jobs, and I don't know if I'll be able to continue or not. As president, though, as you can see, you don't have to be totally tech savvy, because I'm not. Since we have such a wonderful tech team, it's a matter of just kind of organizing things and putting things together. So if you would like to be considered president of the tech club, then you can let us know. We also have two positions called directors. The directors are not elected, but they are volunteers who basically do a lot of PR for the club and just kind of help overall with some things. Martin Rodriguez has been our director for a couple of years, and I'm not sure if he's stepping down, but we need two directors. Tim Walter has volunteered to move from being past president to one of the directors. Thank you, Tim. He's always been very involved in the whole thing. So you can let us know if you would like to be a director. And this is, like I said, our last meeting until the fall. And basically our Sunday help sessions are over, except over the summer we may have a pop-up session. We'll communicate that in the communicator and let you know, because it is so popular and so many people do like to come and get help. We'll put that out there. And for the tech help sessions, besides us, you can come besides getting help, you can be a helper too, because some of you know a lot more technology than perhaps I do, and we can always use that help. Let me just see. Some people have called me and Larry and other people for getting technology help at their home. And you're setting up a TV or something, and it's like, you're the technology club, why aren't you available for that? But that's not what we're about. The technology club is primarily to support the members at our meetings in the computer lab and so forth. So we don't go and provide tech support at home. But as I wrote in the newsletter that went out, Steve Blinko, who has now resigned as the corral director, is available. And I also put in the phone number for Apple support, where you can get free support if you have Apple products. So that is another way to get help. So now we'll go to Larry, and do we have any reports, any updates from the Tech Lab?
Not really much to report on the lab. Everything's running and we aren't having too many issues in there. We did run through a lot of paper the last, excuse me, the last couple of weeks. And so we kind of were trying to figure out where all the paper went. But anyway, otherwise everything's going smooth in there and we're not having any problems. We do have one tech team member here. The one who volunteered all of this. So I'd like to thank him and all of our tech team members, even the ones that aren't here, because they're always a big help. And anybody who would want to be on the tech team, will help you learn anything you may not know, and you could be a big help to us keeping that going. Somehow, everybody knows it.
It's not like you cannot be named, it doesn't name. Today we have a special guest who is a Sunflower resident. She's an author. Kristen De La Flame has agreed to come and talk about something that maybe we don't want to think about, but it's a reality. And so, Kristen, would you like to come up? I think you're set up with the microphone on your lapel, so you don't need this, right?
Am I on? Am I on? No.
Not hearing you.
Why not? Okay. It needs a battery. I'm trying.
Did he turn you down on the iPad?
Yeah, when you use
We may turn you down on the
Can
iPad.
you hear me now?
That's probably what happened.
when you reach out the iPad.
Presentation on the screen. No, just no.
Tim is diligently working on an effort to take photos of all Technology Club members, just so we can recognize you and be able to put a name to a face. So Tim, maybe on the way out, if you haven't had your photo taken, and you could stop by him and get that done.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I have something else I'm supposed to do. Thank you. I actually stole this title from a book that I got that was to organize what I'm talking about today. So a little bit of plagiarism there.
Not working either. Nothing's working. There you go. I'll do it.
Okay, I'll tell you when.
Okay.
So today I'm going to talk about this kind of guide. And thing is that I did 3 estates, and it was really frustrating. A lot of the information that was not available to me made it very, very difficult to go through the steps and the moving parts that had to be done. Even though they weren't real complicated estates, still, it was very difficult. So I'm going to try to give you a step-by-step guide on taking care of your final arrangements. Next. Now, if you have a trust, these are sort of the moving parts that you're going to have. You're going to have the revocable living trust. You're going to have titling property into the trust, pour-over will, durable power of attorney, power of health, and beneficiary designations for any retirement accounts, that kind of thing. But the document we're going to talk about today is the last one, a document of instructions to the survivors. And again, they have these books. But the problem is that things change. You know, you maybe had a credit card 10 years ago, you don't have it now, you have a different one. Or you have some auto pays and that changes. And it's very hard to update that information in these books. So it's better if you have your own document, preferably in a computer, but doesn't have to be. And then you can make those changes, cross out, white out, whatever it is, the information that is no longer applicable. They do have software programs also for this kind of information. You can go to the next. But again, then you have a big learning curve and you have to enter everything into that program. So I think it makes it kind of cumbersome and a little difficult, although the software program did look kind of intriguing, I must say. So the first thing that this is all the information that we're going to talk about today, and you do have a handout that pretty much is the same as this, so you can refer to that. Next. The first page that I have is a title. So I have a document that's a PDF document or a Word document. And what I do is I have a title page, and then I have all my ensuing pages. So the title page, I have my full legal name. I might have a nickname, phone number, address, and my email. That's on the title page. That's immediately available to anyone. Next, I have the table of contents. That's fine. And I include the page numbers where the information is. So if you go back to, you want to talk about immediate steps, then what are key contacts? I have that page number on the table of contents. So now here's a page that I have. It's key contacts. It's a power of attorney, power of health, executor, physician, and then attorney, CPA, financial advisor, anything that you have that you think is important. And include all of their contact information, address, phone number, all the information there so that the survivor can go immediately to that page and doesn't have to hunt around for that information. Next. So there's some immediate steps that you need to take before going through the whole document to see what needs to happen. You probably have some cremation or burial information. Maybe you prepaid for it. Maybe you have some desires that you want that, going in the family plot or something. So you should have that information available immediately for the person. When you do go to the funeral home, you're going to be allowed death certificates. And at that time, you determine how many of those you want. Usually places will take copies, but there are some places that want an original. So I would get between 3 and 5 originals for that. You might want to make that as a note. Then you want to have the attorney's name who wrote up the will, probably. So you have all that information. You do have it on your key contacts. Doesn't hurt to have it repeated. You want information how to get in the house, arrangements for pets, whatever arrangements you've made, because that's got to be done right now. You want to maybe remove some valuables from the home because maybe you don't know who all might have keys to the house, or you just don't want to leave the house vacant with the valuables. Adjust the house temperature. Snowbirds know how to do this. Some of us who live here year-round aren't too sure how to do that. So you might want to find out if the house is going to be vacant, what you need to do. The computer stuff can be really maddening. So you want to have all the PIN, how to get into the computer, how to get on the phone, how to get on the iPad, whatever it is that you have that has pins and passwords and everything, you want to include that information. But the immediate stuff is they probably have to get in the computer and they probably have to get on the phone. If you have a financial advisor, you want to have that information. You have to stop the Social Security payments now, because if you get a payment, you have to send it back. So you want to be able to contact that. If you're going to have to make ongoing payments, you're going to have to get in a special number to replace the social security number for the bank accounts, so that they can then pay out of that account any of your bills that come up. You want to stop retirement deposits, same reason as the social security, notify utility companies. And, if you have like a gas fireplace or something, you're going to want to turn that off, the pilot. So these are the kind of things, make a note of everything that needs to be done so that the survivor can just go check, 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 check. Stop your mail delivery or redirect it, stop your newspaper, that kind of thing. Next. Personal information. When you do this death certificate information, or maybe you want to have information in the newspaper, that kind, or maybe you're like a local paper where you live. So you have to have this information available, your legal name, maiden name, date of birth and place, social security number. Have to have your mother's and father's names and all that information, birth and death and place, and then spouse's name. That is really infuriating because a lot of times even the kids don't know where the grandfather was born, the place, that kind of thing. So make sure you have that information available for them. Next. Medical information. Now, you want to know where your health insurance card is, but put down the number and the information and everything on this document as well, even though there's a card available. You want to tell them where the location of all these documents are. So if you have a do not resuscitate order, you want to have them know where it is. Organ donation, you want to know where that piece of paper is. Living will, power of health, primary physician, where all that information I know is on the key contacts. Doesn't hurt to repeat it again here. So, and then actually this should probably be a whole other document, but if you're incapacitated, there's a lot of information that you have to have for that. So I've only included very basic information here, preferred hospital, blood type, medical conditions, medications, but there's other information that needs to be included if you're incapacitated. So I'm thinking of adding that for another talk, but if you want to look into that, go ahead and include that on a separate page. Now, next. So again, these are important documents that you want to have on hand for the survivor to have. This all might be in one place. Maybe in hearing this, you might want to consolidate everything into one place. So the will, the funeral documents, birth certificate, original birth certificate, if you can have that, marriage certificate, driver's license, passport. I have all of those in a safe deposit box. Maybe you have a home safe, just an idea to have those all together. Those are important documents to have. Next. So they're going to have to contact a lot of people and let them know that you've passed on. And this is on the financial end of things. When you have this information on how to contact these people, include the address, the phone, the email, so they can get in touch with these people easily. And you're going to have to contact the bank, maybe an attorney. You want them to know how to get into the safe deposit box. You're going to have to notify Social Security. And obviously, when you stop the payments, you're doing that. But it's just another checklist just to make sure that you've covered it. I don't want to list all the credit and debit cards, the numbers, all the information on how to contact that company so that you can stop the credit card from existing. insurance paperwork. Gotta have that all together. You have investments versus having a financial advisor or something, you want to have all that paperwork available. You want to advise a financial advisor, Schwab account, whatever it is that the person has passed. Tax records, important, CPA obviously will, but they don't keep that information. So whatever the current tax is, you're going to have, the survivor's going to have to address that. Now, automatic payments. I don't know how many of you here do automatic payments. I do quite a number of them, and it changes from time to time. So I actually have a separate sheet of my automatic payments, and it's something that I update regularly because, yeah, again, it changes a lot. I'm kind of weird that way. I have a separate page for that. And then charity donation payments and any membership fees that maybe are ongoing. If you belong to some group, you might want to let them know. Next. Am I going too fast on through all this for any of you? Are you comfortable? Okay, so now property. Got to think about these as separate moving parts. So your property is your house deed, your mortgage papers. You know, if you have a trust, did you fund the house into the trust? That kind of thing. Any other real estate papers, your vehicle, same thing. Did you fund it in the trust or not? You have to have the VIN number, the insurance information. You have to notify the insurance people that, you know, you no longer have this under that person's name. And here's another one that I have a separate sheet for, like the auto pays, and that's personal items that are assigned to certain people. And so I have a list of all the items with a photo, and it's like a separate document. For me, the reason is because I have my stepfather's side of my family, and then I have my husband's side of the family. So I have things designated to certain people that belong to that family. That's the reason that I made a big deal about it. Yes.
Are those things that are outside your will, or are they also in your will?
No, they're not in your will usually.
Okay.
You know, something, even your car isn't usually in your will. You designate that to somebody. You know, your house, you might your car too. I mean, it's all in how you do your paperwork. But I have a lot of personal items. Like, for instance, I have a chair that was my great-great-great-grandfather's, and that's going to go to a museum in Texas. So that's a designation. I have some garden ornament things that belong to my stepfather, and I want them to go to his grandchildren. So they don't always understand why these things are important for them to have. So, you know, I have it on a separate sheet so they get them. And sometimes it changes. I had some really nice Asian rugs in my house, and I was designating them to the appropriate side of the family. But I then thought it's not good for me to have rugs in my house. And I gave them to the person now. So they were taken off the list. Next.
Should be up there.
Oh, yeah, okay. So this is really important. You want your email, any online accounts that you have, like Amazon, for instance, PayPal, that kind of thing. Also social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, anything that you have like that. Include that information. Get the person off of, or, you know, make arrangements to have your name removed from there. Tell them that they need to do that. They need to cancel that account. And passwords, wow. Usernames and passwords. I have an automatic on my computer, but I'm also have an executor who's not very computer savvy. So it's a concern. But you want to be, but I have too many things with passwords and usernames, so I'm just figuring, you got to figure this out with the automatic inserts. But consider it, because you do want your name off of all of those accounts. Next.
Chris,
Yes,
why is that you want your name off, like Facebook or?
you don't want that account anymore. Once you're past, you don't want to have that ongoing.
But if you're gone and you're not gonna post on it anymore, what does it matter?
Okay, you're right. You can just have it stay there, but it's kind of, I would want it gone.
You can also turn it into a memorial page.
Yeah.
That's another option.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We did that with my daughter, turned it into a memorial.
So LinkedIn is another one. You're not doing business anymore, so. Yes.
It's the same thing.
Oh, okay. So, next. Okay, so this could almost be a separate page, but I have it as part of my document. It's all the people that I want notified of my passing. If obviously family, friends, co-workers, maybe. I want where I worked, for them to know. A school that I went to, want them to know. She's my high school friend here, so she has to do the same thing. And just, whoever you think you want them to know. I was really sad because my mother's, I messed up, or maybe I didn't, somebody did, probably wasn't me, messed up my mother's email. And I couldn't get in. And so I couldn't notify a lot of people that I would have liked to have notified of her passing. So I was kind of sad about that. So just kind of make sure that that's item squared away. And I have all the information on how to contact them. Again, address, phone, email, whatever's pertinent to that. It's good to have, emails change. So I don't ever consider that a permanent contact. As well as phones. So it's good to have the mix, address, phone, and email. So, next. So these are the two documents that I was telling you about that I have separate. There's one last thing. Hang on a second. There should be another slide. Maybe I misplaced it. Let's see, next. Oh, there you go. So I think this is a nice thing to include. You might have some final thoughts, some ideas that you want to express. Just something there. You can or not, but it's just an idea. You can kind of sit in the middle that way. Next. So, next. Yes.
Kristen, would have died before my wife does.
That's what you.
She'll then be eligible for my Social Security. Have you ever seen a set of instructions on how to make that happen?
I have not, so you would have to contact Social Security, Google it, do something. I'm sure the information's out there. I know that my husband was eligible for mine, but then he passed before me, so it was a moot point. So I don't know. And again, I'm not a financial person. I'm a keeping list person. That's
I think it's Thursdays in the paper, there's always a write-up by a gentleman who has been with Social Security for over 50 years. He's put out 2 books. And I just ordered them on Amazon. one for each of my children. So that might be a source for him to get answers that are accurate, because
So you can contact her, Tom, and find out what the names of those are.
Well, I know when you call Social Security, if you call 3 days, you're allowed to get 3 different answers.
That's probably true.
Yeah, they're not the best trained.
Mhm. And anybody else have any questions? Nope, you're all tight, you're good? All right, next.
Yes.
I want to acknowledge Kat Mapes, who absolutely contributed to this. She provided me with her paperwork that she's put together. And so many of the things that are in this talk were provided by Kat. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
So, yeah, I have one daughter that I adopted, and, I tried to make things real simple for her with checklist and so on. Another document that I created as an address when I die is when I need care, because I'm not married, and so what do you do? Because then she has to, activate the power of attorney for health, power of attorney for finances, and a few things that might be a little bit different from when I die compared to when I need care. So,
I'll add to that. I passed this by my financial manager. And he sent back and he said, you might want to tree this and include something about and if I'm incapacitated, what to do. So I know that's important. And I'm going to look into doing that now that he's advised me to do that.
and, yeah, yes.
the Secretary of State puts out a document called a POLIS.
Called what?
A POLIS, POLST. It's pink, it has to be pink, and posted with the DNR. And it's like if you have issues, health issues, your doctor has to sign it, but you put those health issues in there. So when they come crashing down your front door and haul you out in the street, if they're smart, they'll read that POLIS, because if you have certain things that you're allergic to, they could really make a mistake and it affects.
Thank you. Certainly that's.
How are you spelling that again?
How do you spell it?
POLST.
And who has it?
Secretary of State of Arizona.
Susan mentioned also, they have, that's a good resource also to look on their website. With the singles group, we had someone come from Northwest Fire at one point, and they have a little magnet pouch where you can put all your life information. And they also talk about something called a Knox box. In case you live alone, that is a box you can purchase. There are only certain ones that are connected to the fire department, where you place a key so you don't have to, so they don't have to knock down your door, and that could be a big expense to replace. So instead, you put a key in there and they can get in there and kind of register it with the fire department.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes,
For your presentation, I would add your favorite music. It's like when I was young, I used to clean house to the Beatles. And it's a sad time for the children. Put that music because they'll be able to find it on the internet.
Oh, good.
And the different songs that you like. Whatever they may be, your favorite songs. Like my dad is always in the mood. If I hear that song, I always think, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5 of your favorite songs. Add that because it's a sad time and music always boosts your spirits.
That's correct.
there's always something that's great contribution. And another piece is like an obituary. From what I understand, it can be kind of costly to have a lengthy obituary in the paper. They do have, I think there are records that are posted in the newspaper all the time, but if you want an obituary with more information, then you have to pay for that.
Yeah, but I think that the funeral homes provide something. I'm not sure how that works, but we passed on all of that. This money.
I know, in my situation, I have a cremation already paid for that I paid for years ago, so that's ready to go. So that's another thing, maybe to check in with a funeral home, and see about, if you want to set something up now, so that when, your survivor has to make all these decisions about burial or cremation, if you've got it all set up, the things that Krista has presented is basically, and I think you said you've done 3 estates, and so you know what it's like to be the survivor and have to deal with all that. So the more simple, the easier you can make it for your survivor.
And I did one estate that was probate and one that was trust. The trust was a little larger estate, so it had moving parts, but the probate was a bear. Yeah. So trust is the way to go. And I had to pay up the taxes. It was like double taxation.
With the probate. So you can find in the state planners all the time that you can go to. Some actually have, you can go to an attorney, or there's some places where you do estate planning and they have a consultant, like a lawyer who then helps write it up.
And they have elder law attorneys. That's what they specialize in.
You're a wealth of information. You're also an author. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about your book?
So I do oral history work for gathering family stories and our memoirs or company histories. And I did a 3-year project for a museum on the fruit industry, and that culminated into can't even say the word, ended, right? Ended in a book and an exhibit. I've done several family histories. I was lucky enough to live in the Bay Area, so I had contacts, and I did several celebrities and CEOs and so forth. So I did the history for Bob De Niro. That's my big one. And I did one for the owner of the Giants, San Francisco Giants. So I've done a lot of oral history work. And I put together this book on how to create, tell your family story. And I did it, about oral history work, about just writing the narrative, about how to produce a book, if you want to do that, and a little bit about the genealogy, how to include that in a project. So that's what my book is. And it's available on Amazon, and I gave you all the parts. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments about Kristen's presentation or about the text art? Oh, yes.
The person should need additional death certificates. What provides that? Is it the funeral home?
Yes.
Yeah.
They will some, and you can also go to Vital Records on Country Club and Aho. And yeah, you do have to pay for them.
Yeah, no, the funeral home's the way to do it.
Usually.
Okay.
Let's do a funeral home, there you go.
Great.
Take care of all
So, anything else?
of
Well, thank you for coming and.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Chris. And well, this will be on YouTube. Please, Larry put it up there, the Zoom recording, so you can repeat it and see it. There.
Chris, I forgot.
Hey, Tim, if you haven't read